Alright everyone, welcome back to Ryder losing her damn mind. She swings her daggers with delight. Cackling with scorn, she tramples them beneath her. Without rest or respite, she continues running as if fleeing something. She feels giddy with each one she crushes. Giddy with disgust. Giddy with amusement. Before long, her captivation intensifies into wild passion. Before she realizes it, she was butchering the monsters in a frenzy. She doesn't want to think about anything, so she can't help but let her primal instincts take over and enjoy the hunt. The night continues. The slaughter continues. There are no living humans in this city at night. The only ones roaming about are the monsters. And she is broken. The more she kills, the heavier her body grows. The more she crushes, the more she forgets her own words. In a word, she is broken. Suddenly, she lowers her eyes. Her body's beginning to change, just like that time. She does not scream. Her boiling head cools at an impossible speed. Ah, of course this happened. There's no time for lamentations or ridicule. In that brief moment of absent-mindedness, she stabbed without mercy. Monsters surrounded the wounded beast. The remains of her humanity are on the verge of death. Impaled by multiple claws, nothing is left of her body below her chest. She has been cut into fine pieces. What remains of the blackened monster can only last a few minutes more. Through her ragged breath, she looks at her bloody palms. Deep crimson red. She turns her claws, barely resembling human hands, to the monsters converging upon her. This corpse can still fight back. The creature meekly decides to observe their new brethren as she dies out. Even breathing is difficult. Though she's already dying, her body continues to transform. Surely it won't stop even if she dies. After what's left of the woman stops breathing, she will disappear and be reborn as a monstrous anti-hero, with no trace of her original form. She murmurs. Being still able to utter human words feels like some kind of lingering attachment, and it irritates her. Dimly, she looks at her deforming hands. She has known all along. She had confessed it to him as well. That her form was only temporary. That her true nature was that of a hideous monster. She was destined for ruin. From the moment she consumed human, her end had been determined. Day by day she grew. First her body crumpled, then her heart, and finally, her very being decayed. And all she ever wanted was to become stronger in order to protect her sisters. But in the end, even her sisters were nothing more than nuisances intruding upon her lair. The end of that chapter is unknown to her. At the time, she had neither eyes, nor nose, nor mouth. She had become a world that only crushed its prey. No, that had been violence committed by the monster in the first place. It had nothing to do with her before she changed. So it shouldn't be painful, but... She kills her sisters, doesn't she? That must have been it, she thought. And at that thought, she feels a sudden urge to gouge out her eyes. New sacrifices appear before the monster of their own accord. Joining hands, they are still trembling legs, and look up at the completely disfigured monster. Said the eldest sister, Steno, in a gentle voice. Lovingly, like always, she smiles at the monster.
それは私だけの話よ。私は諦めが早いから捨て鉢になってたけど。
Grumbled the second sister Uriali. She curses and insults her monstrous sibling, but at times she looks at the she-beast with true sadness.
まあ、素敵。じゃあ満足よね、エウリアレ。これで最後まで純潔だったわ、私たち。
Steno grasped her sister's hands, her own hands tightly, seeking comfort from their fear, never abandoning that which they hold dear.
そうね。私は嫌だけど、そうしないとあんまりにもこの子がバカみたいだし、それぐらいは意義があったものにしてあげないと。
The sacrifices think this to themselves. They were the ones who hated humans, and their youngest sister had never bore men any ill will, yet it had come to this. Oh, damn. The two sisters were loved by men and were destined to be violated by them day after day. The elder accepted it as a fate, while the younger despised it, but both of them had given up. Yet the youngest sister protected them until the end.
あなたは私たちを守った。けれど、私たちを守ったメドゥーサはもういない。なら、守られていた私たちも同じように亡くなりましょう。
That which was lost shall never return. Steno, who had dreamed that the three of them would live forever on the island far away, closes her eyes and raises her head.
うわ、もう目の前か。じゃあね。さようなら、かわいいメデューサ。最後だから口を滑らせてしまうけど、憧れていたのは私たちの方だったのよ。
The days that have gone by shall never return. Uriali, who had believed that one day the three of them would escape the rustic temple and return home, smiles like she used to and raises her head. Stop! 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 Countless snakes consume both sacrifices, without joy, without sadness. As though crushing ants, the monster grinds the sisters to a pulp. In this way, the immortal girls, retaining their form as beautiful sisters to the very end, while still alive, were absorbed into the monster. Oh. Consumed without a trace left behind, they became the monster's flesh and blood, and it continued to thrive. Thus became of the three Gorgon sisters. Thus, the three goddesses banished to the shapeless isle became the monsters the people had rumored them to be. What did she love? What did she want? She had so little that was precious to her that she swore to protect them no matter what, and yet... Now that she is heading to her death, while she is being transformed, she can't even recall it. She can't stop the transformation. At this rate, she will turn into a monster and disappear. Everything will end with that. From now on, she will be summoned as a monster, not to protect humans, but to annihilate them. She can't stop the transformation. There's nothing to be done. Nothing to care about. The swarm of creatures is like the band at a festival. They reveled with hatred in the birth of a new monster. Her consciousness wanes. She has a feeling that there is still something left to do, yet she can't quite seem to place it. As her life comes to a close, she quietly shuts her eyes. She noticed an unfamiliar presence peering at her.
あれ、俺が見えるの？そうか、あんたも怪物になっちまったんだな。
Though it feels like she has never heard its voice before, the laughter sounds all too familiar. A smirking grin and sneering eyes. It irritates her considerably. Her sadistic heart starts to pound again. If her body was strong, she would have leaped forward and plucked its head right off.
ああ、いや、ちょい違うか。あんたはそんなすっきりしたもんじゃない。あんた、自分が何者か自覚はある？
Aware? She isn't prepared for it, but she accepts it as truth. This heroic spirit's seat would no longer be Medusa's, but that of the monstrous Gorgon.
なるほど、潔い。けど、あんたは怪物の定義を知らなそうだな。わかってるか？それは生きるために人を襲うんじゃなく、人を襲うために生きる生き物だ。人間社会を真っ向に端から端まで否定する殺戮機構。ただいるだけで害悪になる毒。それが怪物ってもんなんだが、自分だって言い切れる？
She already knows that. From now on, she will embody that concept over and over again.
そんなの今さら初めから私は
Since the beginning, she has been a monster. A monstrous camouflage in human intellect and appearance. If she would someday become such a monster, then her true nature must be the same. That's why it doesn't even matter anymore. She roamed the city at night in search of blood, and found herself indulging in slaughter. Such a monster would shed its skin to reveal its true color someday, just like this. And yet, it laughs. Heartfelt mirth. Heartfelt hatred. As if to scorn the woman who, by the minute, was turning into a hideous monster.
だから、そこが違うんだ。いいかい？怪物は本能で物を殺すんじゃない。それは優れた理性で物を殺すんだ。人の手に有り余る性能を総動員して何の疑いもなく何の悲しみもなく身もだえるほどの喜びを持って殺し続けるのが怪物だ。ただなんとなくで人間を殺すだなんて、そんなのは違う生き物なんだよ。あんたはまだどっちにもなれない半端者みたいだけど、同時にどちらにも傾ける猶予がある。
Her intellect wants to just fall into the abyss already, but stubbornly clings to the cliff's edge. She continues clutching pitifully at the earth, wishing for solid ground.
それはどういう。
わからないか？血を求めるあんたと他のものが気になるあんた。それはどちらも真実だ。どっちも否定はできないだろ。欲望に優劣なんざない。どっちが大きいか、どっちが大切なのかはその場その場で変わるものだ。肝心なのはあんたがまだ持っているかどうかの話。
何を。
The slightest bit of strength returns to her arm. She summons all her reserves in desperation. It's not enough to pull her out of the abyss. No matter how much she struggles, she will only disappear at this rate. Laughing, it looks down upon her.
ではと、ライダーのサーバント。あんたはその心に望むものがまだかけらでも残っているか？
I have no desires, but there is something I truly wished for.
あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
What you just said before was a contradiction. She has no desires, but there's something she wished for? That's a desire. That's right. Even if she is still Medusa now, she can't save herself if she is to become a Gorgon soon. From the start, there was never a way to save herself. So she has no desires. No matter how happy days past were, if she would devour them all eventually, there would be nothing left in her hands. However, even one such as she can still save someone. A servant is summoned to a master to whom its nature is similar. This is all the more so if the summoning catalyst is weak. Because her master had the same fate as her, she was summoned to that girl. A girl fated to turn into a monster. The victims turned aggressors formed a contract in this world as fellow monsters. That's why. She doesn't want her to end up the same. Although she can't change what she is, she can protect the girl who holds the same fate as herself. Her unfulfilled happiness. Her irredeemable sin. How deeply she loved that petty foolish girl's desperate struggle to put on a brave face. She stares at her hands dumbfounded. Her transformation has halted, and she is fading away as her human self.
なぜ
怪物じゃないからだろ。みっともないが、誰かを助けたいという気持ちがあるのなら、あんたはギリギリ人間だ。
She can hear a voice from elsewhere. The speaker is near, but can no longer be seen.
ああ、これで解決しちまったな。あんたの悩みは永遠について回るが、その願いがある限り怪物になることはない。
It's crazy how he indirectly saved her.
その苦悩と同じように永遠にこちら側に来ることはない。
The presence fades. The shadow gives an all too friendly wave and disappears.
待ってあなたは
Coughing blood, she calls out to the figure.
さすがにしつこいな、ヘビ女。大した生命力だが、今回はおとなしく死んでおけ。で、目が覚めたらマスターに謝っておくといい。ほら、俺が言うのもなんだけどさ、マスターとサーバントは仲良しじゃなくっちゃな。
Snickering, it finally disappears. In the end, she thinks it resembled a young man she knows very well.
そうですね。
She heaves a deep sigh. She lowers her clinging arms.
本当私はいつまでたっても愚かです。
And this time her eyes finally close. Relieved that, rather than merely dying, she has recovered her wish, she murmurs.
もうすぐ帰りますから待っていてください。さくら。
Swearing a promise she could never keep, the beautiful figure vanishes from the earth. Wallpaper added to the special menu. Oh, saber time! We just finished our lunch. As I relax with a cup of tea,
ところで私が留守にしている間何か面白いことなかった？
all of a sudden a question comes up.
特にはってさくらの手紙に書いてなかったか？
すごく長いエミヤくんの口述筆記があっただけよ。あの子はみんな元気ですって書いてたけど、 そういうのは社交辞令じゃないの。
I see. Whatever actually happened, Sakura wouldn't want Tosaka to worry, and that consideration went to her letter. Looks like Tosaka knows that too.
さくらが体調を崩したことがあったみたいだけど、手紙には書いてなかったからね。それで気になったのよ。
ああ、そうか。さくらはちょっと風邪ひいたけど、後の面々は無病息災。藤姉に風が寄りついたのを見たことはないし。
That brings to mind the adage about how idiots don't catch colds, but rather than that, it's more like a discipline she subjects herself to every day. It's on an entirely different level.
セイバーとライダーは調子崩すということがあるのかどうかって感じだな。特にセイバーは元気だぞ。天高く馬こゆる秋ってことで。
さくらと一緒に食欲の秋？
秋口に食いだめして冬場に冬眠するんじゃないのかと思うほどよく食べる。
As the one who has to prepare the food for them, it's quite troubling. Well, even I am bound to have times when I worry about how much rice I have to cook.
いくらセイバーの因子に粒子があると言っても、冬場にねぐらで冬眠はしないわよ。
粒子？
She used a term I've never heard before, and it brings a puzzled frown to my face.
あれ？エミヤくん知らなかったの？セイバーを構成する因子の一つは幻想種の頂上、粒子よ。
いや、それは知ってる。セイバーと竜は同じようなものだってことだろ？
Actually, you could say that's the only thing I know.
エミヤくんは竜というと何を想像する？
Out of all the creatures in fantasy, the dragon is undoubtedly the one at the top, or so I've heard.
とにかく人間じゃ太刀打ちできない動物の王様かな。火を吹く、トカゲっぽい目をしてる、ヒゲや牙が生えてる、空を飛ぶ、乙女の生贄を所望するとか。
全部セイバーに当てはまったら面白そうね。
否定できないな。藤姉がおやつを横取りなんかしたら怒って火を吹きかねん。
相変わらずそういうことやってるのね。内村先生の方も一回因子分析した方がいいのかも。妖精でも出てくるかしらね。
Were she actually to do that, I don't think I'd be brave enough to look at the results. Back to the main topic.
ああ、あと光り物や金貨を溜め込む。
竜の巣穴の財宝炭、それがあるからこそ竜は幻想種足りえるんだけど、セイバーって貯金が趣味？
どうかな。節制とか節約とか好きそうだから当たらずとも遠からずって感じだけど。
But even if she has that in her disposition, I doubt she'd bother to actually start saving.
他には海に1000年山に1000年住んでいる、長江を遡って登竜門に上がる。
雲上竜変？今度は東洋の竜？
獣の王様と獣の神様じゃ微妙に違うけどな。竜で他の言い伝えはと。
ちゃんとセイバーは爪が5本あるわよ、王様だから。
I was about to say that. 5 dragon claws were the symbol of the emperor in many Chinese dynasties after all. What else? Oh yeah.
これも東洋の竜の話だけど、曰く竜には逆鱗がある。
There's always a single scale growing backwards in the dragon's body. Legend says that if you happen to touch it, no matter how gentle the dragon may be, he will lose himself in rage.
あら、それならセイバーにもありそうだけど。
I'm let down by her all too quick reply. Holding the teacup in my hands, I keep staring at Tosaka.
セイバーはあれほどいいとこ取りなんだから逆鱗ぐらいは受け継いでもらわないと。アキレスのかかとじゃないけどそれぐらいないとバランス悪いでしょ。
アキレスのかかとは弱点だろ。逆鱗はどっちかっていうと欠点というか短所というか。
欠点も短所も弱点も同じよ。私が言ってるバランスはセイバー本人のバランスじゃなくて自然界全体のバランスのこと。永遠に衰えない完全無欠な存在がいたら循環が滞るでしょ。みんなより強いものにはどこかにみんなより足りない部分が存在するのよ。
なるほど。例えばそれは
Someone who can master just about everything but will stumble upon the very last hurdle, making a big mess.
ちょっと何よいきなり黙り込んで。何か言いたいことでもあるの？
いや別に遠坂はよく分かってるなぁと思って。にしても逆鱗か。
Does Saber really have one? If she does, and I just happen to brush against it in public. I like how she just got a tiger out of nowhere. Is that what would happen? Uh-oh. Somehow, it looks kind of fun.
どうしたのエミヤくん。遠くを眺めて。何か面白いことでも思いついた？
いや別にそんなことは。
I cover it up by drinking some tea. This is bad. Real bad. I've been corrupted by Tosaka's malice, finding ways to tease and make fun of Saber. What was I thinking?
首の後ろが怪しいと思うわ。
何の話をしてんだお前は。
別に今のは個人的な意見だからエミヤくんはこれっぽっちも気にしないでいいわよ。あと裏枠として背中を押さえておくわ。
だから何の話だそれは。
Beats me, Tosaka feigns ignorance as she stands up.
じゃあ私はこれで。全然関係ないけど心中察するわエミヤくん。マスターたるものサーバントの管理はしっかりしておかないといけないものね。それが危険を招くようならどんなに嫌なことでも調べないといけないんだから。
See ya, Tosaka disappears into the hallway with a spring to her steps. A master's duty, is it? I was only a bit curious about this Gekiden business, but she's right. Perhaps I should investigate it a little further. Oh, she's trying to get us in trouble.
シロ、部屋に戻るのですか？
ってセイバー？
What great timing! Speak of the devil. A single scale growing backwards, Gekiden. So somewhere around there, there's a spot which will land me into hot soup if I touch it.
どうしたのですか？顔色がよろしくない。
悪い、ちょっと考え事をしてた。
I can't. It's gone into my head and it's no use putting the brakes on it now. Does Saber have a Gekiden? And what is it really? I can't let it go until I find out.
なんだ。
I am honestly prepared for a bad end for this.
ちょっといいか、セイバ
はい、シロ。
ー。シャツの襟歪んでる。
I reach for Saber's neck. My fingers gently touch her silky white skin.
シロ。
動かないでくれ。変な風になってるんだ。
Saying that, I caress Saber's neck. I can't feel anything out of place with my fingers. They say that the Gekiden grows in the underside of a dragon's chin, but I guess it's not there.
首の後ろが怪しいと思うわ。
Today. Do-dee-day. I refrain from any further remarks.
シロ襟は
もう少し。リボンも少し歪んでるような。